Welcome to Power Mondays. Blue Mondays are a thing of the past. Your Mondays will never be the same again. We enter our weeks with energy. This is Empowerment Podcast. We are here to empower you, to inspire you, and to equip you. You are chilling with Nompilo Gumede, the PowerHouse. Enjoy the show. Greetings. This is Nompilo Gumede, the PowerHouse. Before I do anything, I'd like to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Yay! Today is that day where we celebrate the people that we love. But I'm going to take another spin today on just not love, but on loving yourself, the most important person. God entrusted you with yourself, so you must love yourself as well. I hope you had a great weekend. You rested with your loved ones. I had a wonderful weekend with my loved ones, and I really thank God for them, for their love and for their care. And yeah, so today, today's show was actually inspired by one of the listeners. She wrote me a message after she listened to my show on the 4 Agreements, the book. So that feedback actually motivated me to do today's show. She wrote, her name is Tidi. She wrote, "Wow, I loved the book review on the 4 Agreements. I have actually read the book twice, as I think as a leader, it's good material to learn and practice. I loved how you connected the book to the principle of the word. I have never made the connection before. Indeed, the word of God is the standard of our lives. We as Christians, we need to strive to know both the person of God and the principles of God. The unsaved are using the principles of God, just packaging them differently, and they become successful." Wow, the connection was an eye-opener for me. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tidi, for that feedback. When I receive feedback that people like the things, then it encourages me to do more and more, like as I'm doing today. So today I'm going to be reviewing a book. It's called Boundaries. If you've seen the poster of the show, you'll see the cover of the book. It's the New York Times bestseller. It's written by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. It even has a line. So today's show is about drawing that important line. And I'm just going to share my story as well of how this book has helped me and how it came about, how I knew about it. So many years ago, I was at church, Cornerstone, and then the pastor was preaching. It was Dennis Solomon. He was preaching on Proverbs 4 verse 23 and asked for all the people who were hurt while helping others to stand and be prayed for. And yes, I was one of those people, because sometimes when you help other people, you also get betrayed, you also get hurt. And I'm one of those people that really like helping other people. So the funny part is my friend Cindy didn't stand up. And after church, the first thing she told me was, "Below, I knew that you would stand up." So that day I went home thinking maybe my friend Cindy needed prayer. But back then I didn't know that I needed prayer and deliverance. So sometimes when we have a problem, we think it's the other people that that have the problem, but not ourselves. Because I always thought being selfless, being helpful to other people is from God. But this book really challenged my thinking. So the reason why I ended up reading this book is because I had a colleague who was bullying me. And after venting to one of my friends, Desiree Mtiane, she's a very straightforward friend of mine. So I had been venting to her for a while because, she would listen. So she suggested that I actually go and see a psychologist. She actually said, "These things you're sharing me sound so abusive. So I suggest that you go see a psychologist." And she said, seeing a psychologist will help me get strategies on how to deal with this colleague and then pack it nicely so that it doesn't affect me in the future. she actually used an analogy which the psychologist also used. She said you must pack things nicely. Instead, in a wardrobe, you must pack things so that when you open again, everything doesn't just fall. But when you pack things nicely, then you put things in order. So like the clothes, you don't let them just be all over the place in a wardrobe, but you pack them nicely so you know where you stand and everything is in order in your mind. So thank you, Desiree. I'd really like to thank you. Maybe I wouldn't even be doing this show because I wouldn't have learned so much had I not gone to a psychologist. And I'd also like to thank my friend Londega, who referred to me to a clinical psychologist. Her name is Zama Dladla. She's amazing. She's knowledgeable. And she's on top of her game. Yeah. So I went to Zama. And guys, I really want to say that mental health care is very, very important. Sometimes we think we're fine. But if we're not fine, we need that person to speak to. And the nice thing about a psychologist is because they're independent. If I come back to my husband, and always complain about this colleague, to him, he's close to me and he loves me. So he will actually be angry at the colleague. But if I go to a psychologist, Uzama, she'll be independent. Her view will be independent. She'll just see it as it is. She won't look at the person, because it's not like she doesn't love me, but it's her work to deal with such things and to advise you on such things. So the people that love you will actually be mad at the person that's abusing you. I know I also used to speak to my sister about my work situation and my friend Otabisa as well. And a few of my close friends as well. So they would pray with me, but they will feel bad on my behalf as well. But it's better. I recommend that if you're dealing with something that's not making sense and that's making you not sleep at night, something that needs a psychologist, I just advise you to go, because that's also self-love, because prayer is important, but we also need some intervention that can help us unpack things nicely and make us realize where we are. And sometimes the psychologist actually shows you if you're wrong, but the people that love you, they will be like, walk around it and say, maybe it's not you, but the psychologist will tell you that it is you, if it's you, or how to deal with the other person, if it's a person, or if you haven't done well in school, then how you can make strategies that will make. So, yes, I said today's show was about love. So, before I review this book now, I went to a bookstore. I don't want to mention names because people that live around will know who that person is. And then I went to buy this book, and the guy who sold it to me was like, how sissy, are you a softie? The people who are buying this book are softies. And that hurts me, that as a society, we feel that people who are physically sick are really sick, and we see people that are battling on the mental side as if they are just softies or babizangenya. So yeah, I had to deal with that as well. And the funny part is, because my husband is an author, so he was like, oh, I know you from your husband's book launches. And I was like, oops. So now this guy, if maybe he has a big mouth, he'll tell people that, oh, shame. Yeah. But we deal in life. So how do you love yourself best? How do you love yourself best? The first chapter of this book really frustrated me because it showed me that I have a boundary problem. And boundaries, when Ozama explained it, she said that it's like you are setting yourself apart. People must know their place in people's lives. So people, if you keep doing the work for your colleague so that your department looks good, that's a problem. It's a problem because you're not exposing the bad habits of your colleague. Your colleague will get used to you being overworked while your colleague plays around and has more time on their hands. So loving and putting others above you is ungodly. You need to fill yourself up first, because you are important before you can pour into other people. your needs are also valid. Your needs matter. When you think you're being abused, then you're really being abused. And the authors also mentioned that you cannot love others unless you have received love inside yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. My sister recently shared on our family chat, she sent a voice note. She was listening to some pastor while she was driving, and the pastor said, for you to be able to give value to something, you have to sacrifice something. Like if you're putting more extra time on your work, then your family suffers. And I said to her, that is just for me, because I was gonna do the show that pastor, she couldn't even get his name, but said that. So I was like, this is a confirmation. I must do this. It's important that we know what we're giving into, so that the other place suffers. You have to balance these things, because if all these things are important to you, then all these things are worth your time. So we must know, we must be intentional. Spending time with our family is also important. Also, excelling at work is also important. But we must be aware that if we give more to the other one will suffer. Okay. So Proverbs 4 verse 23 even emphasizes that when we watch over our hearts, which is the home of our treasures, we guard them. Whatever we don't value, your heart matters. We don't guard. So if we don't value our hearts, then we won't guard our hearts. So that is self-love. At some point I thought self-love was vanity. It was wrong. But it's so, so important, because if you love yourself, then you protect yourself. If you love your heart, then you protect your heart. The book also has the example of a friend sharing frustrations of how the other friend didn't pay the loan on time. So these friends, they borrowed each other money, and the other one thought, I'll pay this. I'll pay you back. I do have the money now, but it's just a matter of timing. So thus this friend who had borrowed money to his friend said, went and explained how the delay actually affected, self-love means you'll have to explain to the people around you, or people that you work with, or people that you love, how what they're doing affects you. Don't just keep quiet, because you end up being a victim of abuse. And victims always think that they say that they were told they were bad 1,000 times, and it certainly must be true. You end up, if you stay with people or you are around people that keep saying how bad you are, you end up believing that you are bad. But the mystery about God is free from us. He does things for us out of choice, not under compulsion or guilt or manipulation. So I believe that we should also do things just because we want to do them. Even with raising kids, we mustn't push them and manipulate them and say, do this because of that. We must come from a place of how God does things, because he does things, like how he sent Jesus to die for us because he wanted to. It was his wish for us to be free, so we can rest in his pure love. He has no hidden resentment in what he does. His freedom allows him to love. Guys, this book is packed, and I really recommend that you get yourself a copy, because it actually has different chapters as well, like boundaries at work. How do boundaries look like at work? Boundaries at home, boundaries with friends, and I must acknowledge some people are born with this thing, like my friend Cindy, like with her, and I asked her friend, how do you do this? She said to me, Nompilo, I've been hurt, so I protect myself, not because I'm selfish, but I think for myself and treat myself like an egg. That's what she said, and I actually laughed. But we need to do this, and I know that people are in abusive relationships because they think, oh, it's because I love him, it's because I love her, she's like that. We end up tending to understand the people that are abusing us. Guys, you must run. Please run. Get out of that thing that is not serving you. do things just because they are serving you and they are giving you what you need. You have needs and your needs must be met. And with boundaries, there are consequences and counter moves. In the book, there's a story about Brian. Brian had to cut off his father because his father was controlling, those parents that have all the money and they think they can make you do everything just because they have all the money. So Brian, even the will was changed so that he can be cut off. So he made a choice that he wants to be independent with his family. Like, he was already married, had a wife, but then his dad kept controlling him because he would take him to these expensive holidays. And so he thought he must stay with his dad. But then he realized that this is abuse. If you want me to stay with you just because you give me money, but you tell me what to do, you even tell me how to run my home. So Brian had to say, you know what, Dad, I'm going to stand by myself. And sometimes you must understand that if you walk away from that abusive relationship, it's not going to be easy. But we must really look if we're trying to get to please men or God, because you're going to walk out and maybe you're not going to have the money that you used to. The lifestyle is not going to be the same. So just make sure that you do walk out and have a plan. As you're staying there, just have a plan on how you're going to do your things. You must first figure out what is it that you're getting for your lack of boundaries and what you stand to lose by setting boundaries. You see, in Brian's case, it was money. So you face the risk in setting boundaries and gaining control of your life. There's nothing as nice as having control of your life. It's so frustrating to be controlled by someone because they use tactics that are not going to help you to live your life, to live a happy life. Being controlled is not nice. So forgiveness takes one and reconciliation takes two. We must learn to forgive the people that have wronged us, but we must really get out of relationships that don't serve us. Let's choose ourselves. It's Valentine's Day today. Choose yourself. Don't stay in that relationship just because you think you also want to be labeled as having obey. Is that bay the real deal? Is that what is that really between you and yourself, you and your conscience? Is that what you deserve? Is that what you are happy with? Or are you just staying there just so that it looks nice in people, or you scared your family will say you're a failure or a loser or something? Let us be real to what? Let us be real. Let us be real. So in conclusion, we must pour from a full cup. It's not godly to let people abuse you in the name of being a believer in Christ. It is okay to say no. I'm quoting my son's principal, Mrs. Hansmeyer here. Anesu always comes home and says, when Klengi says he said, Anesu says, Mrs. Hansmeyer says, it's okay to be sad. So today I'm giving you the right. It is okay to say no, and the people that love you will understand if you say no. Sometimes you have duties to do, and if you're not feeling well to do that, say so. It's okay. People that love you will understand you. And once the people around you don't want to understand when you say no, then you're in the wrong place. You must choose to love yourself. If you're not feeling well, it's okay to say you're not well, you're not all right, you don't feel like doing that thing. Just be true to yourself. That's the true love that you need. You don't need someone telling you what to do and you doing it the way that person likes it. So the people who really love you will continue to love you even after you say no. The people who love you will respect your no. Your needs are valid. I cannot say this enough. Don't let anyone abuse you to a point where you no longer care what they do next. You know this one. Sometimes we get used to abuse so much that we feel like, I'm numb now to this abuse. I'm numb. I don't care what this person does next, but they've done the worst anyway, Don't let yourself get to that point. You matter. If it's painful, scream, cry if you must. Stand your ground. You matter. Set boundaries around yourself. Zibiyele, you matter. Whether it's work, whether it's at home, whether it's your friends, you matter. You deserve to have boundaries around you. You deserve to love yourself. No one will love you like you love yourself. So that is it from me, Nompilo Gumede, the Powerhouse. I'll just like to wish you guys a happy Valentine's, and please don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You matter. You must love yourself. If it's painful, it's painful. If it makes you happy, stay. But if it doesn't make you happy, mtasekhaya, leave. Just go. In whatever situation, in whatever. If it's work, look for another place where you can serve better. If it's a relationship, tell the person, I'm fine. I cannot do this anymore. Because you matter. Because sometimes it gets to a point where you become numb. You don't want to get to that place. In the Empowerment Podcast, we aim to inspire you, to equip you, and to empower you. So I hope today's show has done all the three pillars, has empowered you to say, I've got the power to leave a relationship or a friendship that doesn't work for me. I'm inspired to love myself more than I love the other party that abuses me. And I'm equipped that even the Bible itself tells us that God does things for us from a heart of love, not from a heart of wanting to please us. He's not pleasing us. He's just doing it because he wants to. And I hope you've been blessed by today's episode. Happy Monday and have a blessed week ahead. Continue to follow us on social media and like and share with your favorite people. So please share this so that people can be empowered and know that they have the right to draw the boundaries, so that you don't blame people if their lives don't turn out the way. So happy Monday, folks, and have a blessed week ahead. Bye.